Greetings and welcome, my friends. This is the Italian Job 4, the sequel in the game Cracking, Opponent Smashing series. We're coming in hot with this version that can tame the opponent's permanents as well as their men. When we fire up a game, the only safe way out for the opponent is to concede. We're going spider-free. There's really nothing from the new set that I would want to put in the deck. Let's get in there. We're playing the full set of Into the Flood Maw, the amazing bounce spell that can hit enemy men for only 1 blue mana. As if that isn't enough, we can also bounce any non-land permanent the opponent controls for that same 1 blue mana. To do so, we will have to give them a sushi, but a 1/1 fish token is a small price to pay to eliminate something from the opponent's board, even if it is only temporary. This is our early defensive measure. Play it to slow the opponent down and buy us some time to set up our board. Stormchaser's talent is a key enchantment that gives us an early blocker. Once again, we're mostly looking to use the token to soak up some damages and buy us time to be able to fire off our more powerful cards. When we level it up to level 2, we'll get in sorcery or instant back from our grave. This is a great way to give our powerful cards another go. Stock up twice, or maybe get the sweeper back to smash yet again. Auroral Procession is a great card that can get us any card in our grave. It's a great way to reuse our powerful spells, but we can also get permanents back. If we've used a Fabled Passage and we're stuck on lands, we can get the passage back for more fetching action. Doppelgang is our duplication. With it, we can make token copies of anything on board, including the opponent's stuff. If we've set up our board right, we can fire a Doppel off for 5 or more. The key to winning with it is to make more copies of our deserts than the opponent has life. Or we can break their will to fight by mass-producing an Extinguisher Battleship and smash all their lands. Another great way is to make multiple copies of our talent, then use a giant pile of otters to get in for damages. Stock Up is our card selection spell. It'll let us pick up 2 of the top 5 cards from our deck. This will let us find cards we need to continue to develop our board. Anything from lands to our powerful Doppel is something we can pull off the top. Ancient Cornucopia is our color-fixing artifact, as well as gaining us life once per turn when we play out a card. By itself, it only gains us 1, but in multiples, we can potentially gain more life than the opponent can dish out in damages. The ramp is also beneficial, as we can go from playing it out on turn 3 to sweeping the board on turn 4. Reclamation Sage is a one-shot for any opposing artifacts or enchantments that the opponent is leaning on to help them. We're only playing 1, since we do have a pair of Extinguisher Battleships that can help deal with opposing permanents as well. And if we need more destruction, we can always Doppel it for a bunch and clear out the opponent's stuff. Map the Frontier is a ramp spell that will fetch us out a pair of lands. We can get basics as well as our deserts that hit the opponent for damages when they enter. The ramp is fantastic, and usually after firing 1 off, we've also fixed our colors to be able to play out the rest of our cards without any trouble. Beyond the Quiet is our sweeper. It'll clear out all men, even ones with hexproof and indestructible. We'll smell you later, much, much later. Note that it also hits spacecraft, and we're committing a crime by playing this over other sweepers. Our top-end card is a spacecraft that will get caught up in the crossfire, so keep that in mind if you're playing these cards together. Usually, I avoid these conflicts, but Beyond the Quiet is one of the best sweepers since it exiles all men. Exalted Sunborn is a great body to have on board. When we make tokens, the angel will double them for us. And what's great is we can warp her in for only 2 mana right before we fire off a big Doppel. The tokens we generate can sometimes be enough to end a game when we have her in play. Plus, the flying and lifelink are excellent abilities that will let us get in for hits if we've managed to make some token copies of her. Virtue of Strength is powerful mana machine that will triple the mana we get from basic lands. With just 1 in play, we can get dozens of mana easily. And once copied a few times, we can generate hundreds and sometimes thousands of mana. That can end up giving us the ability to fire off a Doppel for 10 or more easily. Plus, the adventure portion can let us get a land or one of our men back from the grave. Extinguisher Battleship is our top-end play. When it enters, we can destroy any permanent on board, not including enemy men or our own. Then it hits men for 4 damage, a solid shot to the face of most enemies, but the power comes when we can make multiple copies of it at once and clear out the opponent's men and permanents, including lands. We can cripple them to the point that their will to fight will be extinguished. Rip opponent should have brought a 40 land deck, bro. For lands, we're playing 4 Fabled Passage, the special land we can sacrifice to fetch out any basic land out of our deck. 3 Lush Oasis, the Simic Desert, 3 Creosote Heath, the Selesnya Desert, 3 Lonely Arroyo, the Azorius Desert, 4 Forest, 4 Islands, and 3 Plains. Playing the deck is fun and more on the simple side than it might seem at first glance. We generally want to do what we can to stay alive in the early turns by playing out a talent or using bounce to delay big threats. Then land a cornucopia or fire off a stock up to help find additional ammo. Clear the board when needed, but always work towards building up more and more mana. The Doppel is mana hungry, and every land we get down counts towards our ultimate goal of multiple copies of the best permanents on board. Copying a talent, a virtue, some lands, or even a cornucopia can all lead to us taking down the opponent, sometimes even in one powerful turn. That's the deck, boys. Let's go play some games.
Do you want to play a game?
This is Gordy Feeve. He wears strings as underpants. Some things I was better off not knowing. We're kicking things off with a 3-lander that's got a good mix of early cards. The early bounce can hold off enemy men while we get the Horn of Plenty down. The deserts are not as bad going first as they would be on the draw. Keep your pants on. We draw a second bounce, which is fine. We'll be able to respond to any enemy men they play out and hold them off for a few turns. That's triple bounce now. We can play out the Horn of Plenty and still have mana to fire off a bounce. So easy, even a caveman could do it. They play out an Etrata. She's a deadly fugitive, apparently. That's funny, because I don't want her. She ain't wanted, bro. I do know where she is wanted, and that's back in your hand. We draw another procession. It's like having 4 bounce spells in hand. We got nothing, so we'll pass the turn. In some cases, all you have to do is bounce their guy and that blows their mind. GG's, no cheese needed here. This is Gameth. Sometimes he gameth, and sometimes he gameth not. Wait, is he choking his chicken? We get a 3-lander with bounce, draw, and a sweeper. The angel is the gravy in our boat. Keep your pants on. Don't you hate when you start the game on 19 life instead of 20? They play out a Valley Quest caller. Some are out here on their phones calling up some more might, but this guy wants side quests. Focus, bro, focus. To help them out, we'll bounce their caller and his phone. Get off my board, bro. We drew a frontier, so we'll want to get another land with our stock up to be able to fire it off. We'll take the passage for sure, but it's too early for our top-end cards. We'll grab forest. More lands are better at the moment anyways. The quest caller comes back. He doesn't look happy after being delayed. Let's grab a forest with our passage, then we'll fire off the frontier for another pair of lands. Blue and green mana are important, but we also want to be sure we get at least 2 white. With that taken care of, we can play out everything in our deck. They drop in a mentor. It'll get bigger the more men they have in play. The rabbits have begun to multiply. We draw a Horn of Plenty. We can play it out and have mana for our sweeper if we play out the forest. Fire in the hole, the rabbit hole. It might seem early for the sweeper, but the mentor can get pretty big. All it takes is for them to fire off a hop to it, and we'd be taking 8 damages or more on their next attack. They play out a Caretaker's talent. That gives us a break from having to fight their men off. They exercise our cornucopia. Sure, we lose our mana rock, but it's better they use that on the Horn of Plenty than on a talent or a virtue. We've got enough mana now for the battleship, and we can doppel for 2. The battleship can take out their talent and likely all the men they play out. It might even be GG's at this point. They sacrificed their village to search up some men. I can't believe they're holding nothing but removals. Something isn't right. They play out their recruit and pay the offspring cost. That's a token, and they'll get to draw a card. Their board is about to be extinguished. We'll smash their talent, and the battleship fire will decimate their men. They fire off a hop to it, and that's triple bunny tokens for them. They probably had that all along. They play out a Sheltered by Ghosts, once again the worst removal in the current standard. We draw a stock up, and we'll fire it off to get some ammo. There's a bounce which we can use on their token, and the other stock up will work just fine. We could fire off the stock up, but let's hold off and make it look like we don't have any further plays. I was hoping they'd play out a couple of men, but a wind crystal is fine. They send in the team, and now is when we'll bust this game up. Use Sheltered by Ghosts at your own peril. The battleship claims another victim and clears the board up nicely. Our stock up gets us a procession, and there's a talent as well. All that's missing is a virtue, but even with what we have, we can make this game impossible for them. Let's level up the talent and grab a stock up. All we need to do now is start our own multiplication shenanigans. They play out another mentor. On its own, it isn't very good. Only when they have a decent-sized team does it really become a problem. They pump their little fella, give him some more Wheaties. He's not big enough to survive the arrival of more battleships. We could level up the talent to level 3 for otter tokens with every sorcery and instant we fire off. Or even go with stock up, then send it in. But what if we surprise them with it? Let's send the otter and see if they block up. The block and we'll fire off the procession. A trade here is bad for them. They fire off a removal to save their guy. That's fine as they are tapped out now. There's no chance they'll have another exercise in hand to save themselves the pain that's coming. We'll doppel up for 2 and clear out their guy as well as a pair of lands. We'll hit the village and the man land, and we can use a talent to get back the doppel for more smash hits. Sometimes they give up when you bounce their guy, and sometimes they give up when you smash their board beyond repair. We're pretty sure this guy checked out. We're going to play out some stuff and pump our otters. We'll get them down within range for our next attack, and if they are still around, we'll smash more of their lands on our next turn. Turns out their will to fight was demolished with their lands. Sometimes he gameth not. GG's extra landy surprise. This is Die Ma'am Most. They must have been hated by their parents to get that name. We get the Almighty Shuffler special, and to make things worse, we're on the play. We'll need to draw a land to make this work. Keep your hopes up. Once again, the opponent gets to start the game on 19 life instead of 20. These lands are broken. We draw a frontier when we're still waiting on a third land. They use a surveil land to bin a plains. They might be holding all the lands. We draw an island in time to avoid missing a land drop. We can now play out a cornucopia, and we'll have the mana for the frontier on our next turn. They play out a crystal barricade. I thought I was the only one to play those. We draw a fourth land, and we'll fire off the frontier. I was going to grab Doppelgangs, but let's grab a second white mana in case they snipe our Horn of Plenty. We're color bros. We're both playing Bant. All we can do with our turn is drop in the second Horn of Plenty. We can use the procession during their turn to get back the frontier and ramp some more. They play out a Liege. It pumps all green and white men. They follow up with Kellen. And because he is green and white, he gets double pumped. And because he's a legend, their whole team gets pumped. I'm not pumped. I'm the opposite of pumped. Well, let's stick to the game plan. We'll get our frontier back. I was hoping for a good draw, but we got a land. We'll stick to the plan. They send their men. That's an 11 spot. We won't be able to keep taking damages like that. They play out a Knight of Grace. It has first strike and hexproof from black. Someone has definitely been getting nailed by mono black recently. We won't name any names. We draw a procession, which is fine. We can use it to get back a Doppel after we fire off the second one. This turn we have to warp in the Sunborn and make copies of it. Let's copy the Cornucopia and the Sunborn. This should let us put up a fight. Legends pump their team, even if they don't get to keep the second copy. Seems fair. I mean, that's great and all, but what else you got? That's 3 mana every time they want to pump their team. There's cheaper ways of doing it. To my surprise, they send it. There's no more surprises for them. They're tapped out and out of cards. We just need some of our angels to survive to be able to doppel them on our next turn. Let's double block where we can and take down some of their men. Wait, this guy has first strike, so that's a negative. With that done, we'll get back our doppel. We'll be able to fire it off for 4. Wait, where you going, bro? They get the smell out of town. GG's, extra cheese. Hey, we're on somebody's stream. This is totally new. We get a 3-lander with a pair of early cards and a couple of late-game ones as well. Not horrible, but not the best either. Keep your streaming pants on. We draw a sweeper, so we'll be set to demolish enemy men. But for now, we can take it to them with the otter token from our talent. We draw a Horn of Plenty, which is fantastic. We'll have to wait to play it out, but that's fine. They forest cycle a giant dino body. It's better in the grave than in play, am I right? We draw a second Horn of Plenty. And now there will be plenty of life and mana. They toss a dino in the grave to snipe our otter token. That's not something you see every day. All we can do is play out the second horn this turn. At least we're set for mana. We have enough to play out most of our cards. Rakdos joined up apparently, but he didn't join us. And just like that, they have a big dino board. Unfortunately for them, we have one of our sweepers in hand. Fire in the dino hole. Where these men are going, there is no coming back. They drop another dino, but this one needs a buddy or it will get stunned if it comes at us by itself. We draw another land, and that's enough to let us doppel for 2. But for this turn, we'll get our sweeper back. If they play out another dino, we clear the board. If they don't, we have a bounce we can use to delay them, or we can even fire off a doppel for 2. They don't drop a second dino and send in the big guy by himself. He'll get stunned, but he'll connect. We draw another bounce, and that's perfectly fine. This turn has to be time for the Doppel. We'll copy the talent and their dino. They play out a vault. That's their way of tossing men in the grave. They activate it and toss a tyrant in the yard. I think they had enough mana to hard cast it. This way they get to dump cards out of their hand, I suppose. We draw a stock up. Finally, we can unleash some of our power. They've shown us their strengths, and now we can crush some skulls. That's another stock up, and we'll grab a land. We'll fire off another stock up. The otter tokens are loving it. We're up to 18 damages for those keeping score at home. We'll use the virtue to get back a land from our grave, and that will take us to 20 damages on board. Bouncing their tyrant will give us lethality, and now we can send the team. They give us the GGs and get out of town before our men rumble in. And that, my friends, is another satisfied customer.